So let us start our discussion regarding the local clouds and thin clients today. So generally, when we are talking about the cloud computing, we are more talking about the services which are provided online, whether it is a software as a service or an hardware as a service or a platform as a service. In all the three cases, we are actually mm, the services are offered online and we are going to utilize them. Okay, so is my screen visible? The screen is
Yes, sir.
visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now, generally, what you can do here is, as I told you, that a third party is going to maintain all this software and we are going to access them via online. What you can do here is also you can have a local cloud which is actually provided by a local cloud can also be developed, which is provided by your organization. So where you can access that cloud, where you can access the cloud and you can do on your work. So then, what is a local cloud? Also known as it is a presentation virtualization. So it is actually allows you to manage all the content yourself in your own data center. The meaning of that is here you are actually having your own data center at your place and you are going to maintain it. And all the people who are going to who has a right to access that data center can access that cloud which is locally hosted by you, and then they can carry out their work. So what the meaning of that is, it is just like you're opening a browser and then you are going to access some particular application. Like last class we have discussed that about the Google, which is actually offering various types of services. So one of the service is Google Docs, which is Google Docs, Google Spreadsheets. See that those are actually maintained and offered by the Google, which are placed in the Google server on the cloud. And now you are going to access them. The same concept here also, but the difference here is that cloud is means in the previous case that cloud is actually maintained by the Google, and now here here that service or such type of service is maintained by the local organization, and the local employees or the people who has an right to access such cloud, they can actually use it. Means in-house you are going to maintain the server. In-house you are going to maintain the server here. So most of the people they generally don't actually jump rightly to the cloud. What they will do here, they will go step by step. Means not all they will move. Means they will actually go for an hybrid model where only some few applications are actually moved to the cloud and the majority are in-house. Okay, so that we can get familiar about what are the cloud services, then slowly we can migrate totally towards the cloud. So here, what we are going to do here is the clients do not use any means, as you know that if you are going about talking about the thin clients, the thin clients doesn't have any hard drive, DVD ROM drivers or any other peripherals. What they will do, they will simply communicate with the server, and it is the server which is going to perform everything. Like in the diagram, if you observe that these are the thin clients where it is just having a monitor and a keyboard, and then you're going to give the input and all the work is actually carried out at the server, and only the result is it means this is actually generally used only for the display purpose, but everything other than display, the processing, the storing, everything is done at the server side, at the server in a centralized server. So here we will talk about what is the necessity of virtualizing, what is the purpose of virtualization, and how it will be beneficial to your organization, how it is beneficial to your organization. Now, if you have before going to what your organization need or why you need to virtualize your organization, there are three different terms again which you need to actually become familiar. One is a server virtualization, the other one is an application virtualization, and the third one is a presentation virtualization. Server virtualization in the sense you are going to partition the physical server computer into multiple servers so that each has the appearance and the capability of running on its own dedicated machine. The meaning of that here is you are having an hardware, you are going to have one machine. On that one machine, you are going to install this different servers. You are going to install different servers on one machine, and that machine is actually going to host multiple number of machines, and each has that appearance of the capability of running its own dedicated machine. Means you will get a feeling here that it is your own dedicated machine which is working for you, but it is not the case. There are different n number of machines which will be working on a single physical server, and single physical server, and you can run n number of multiple virtual machines. An example of that is in VMware or Hyper-V. Hyper-V. Then again, you have an application server. This is actually describes the software technology that separate from the underlying operating system. Now here, what actually here is done is, if you want to run an application in general, what you are going to do, you are going to install that application and then you are going to run that application in a traditional sense. But here, application is not actually installed at your system, it is installed at some other system, and now that application you are just going to run it on your system, as if again thinking that your OS is going to run that application and your OS is going to interact with that, and your OS is running that application here. Like for example, see, in most of the virtual games which are, I mean, the games which are available online, so those games are actually not installed on your machine. Actually, the machine, the games are being you're running that application, you are playing the games, but in fact what you think, that game is actually running on your system and you are playing it, your software, your operating system is handling it, but in fact some other, the operate means another, the other system is actually hosting that game, and then it is just displaying you that purpose, that game on your system. Likewise, you have a presentation visualization. As I just told you that this method isolates the processing from the graphics and I/O, which makes it possible to run the application on one location but controlled in another. Means, as we have just seen here, the presentation visualization concept, where the graphics, everything actually those have been displayed. Means it is presented on the machine, but actual working of all the application is done on the other side. Okay. So in this method, virtual session is created and application project their interfaces onto the thin clients there. Means it is just projecting. The application is running and it is actually projecting on this thin client. You're going to see that application on your system, and you may think that that application is actually installed on your system and you are going to work on with that. So these are three terms which are basically we need to know that. Now, why to virtualize? What is the purpose of virtualization? Why we have to virtualize our systems? What is the necessity here? So these days, this virtualization has become very popular because it helps the companies to maximize the value of IT investments, decrease the server hardware footprint, and energy consumption, cost of complexity of managing IT systems, while increasing flexibility of overall environment. So what it is doing, it is going to maximize the value of the IT investments. Means whatever you are investing, you are going to means your idea is to gain high profits. So when it is the matter of gaining high profits here, so virtualization will be actually helps you in that form. Likewise, the server hardware footprint means the less server hardware you are going to use, the energy consumption is also decreased, and complexity of managing the IT system will be decreased, while increasing the flexibility of overall environment. Okay, so what does it mean here? If you think about the cost here, so depending upon your solution, you can have the cost-free data centers. So you will have a very cost-free data centers. You did not have to shell out the money for the physical server itself, but there are options for free virtualization software and free operating systems. The meaning of that here is how the cost is actually decreased. For example, if your company is actually going to host an application, and now you are going to buy n number of, say, n number of physical servers. So for n number of physical servers, you need to have a room, you need to have an AC, you need to means it is going to consume the power, and whatever the other resources are required. You need to have the people who should actually maintain those systems, etc. So these number of means these number of requirements will be there. But are you, just if you think about, are you going to utilize, it means whatever the physical server which you are using, are you going to utilize it for 100%? You can say sometimes no. Okay, whatever the speed which is actually giving, so, means to that extent we cannot, we may not run the application. In such cases, what you can do here is on one single system, you can actually install different n number of, say, example, 3 number of virtual servers. So one physical hardware, underlying hardware, is going to run now 3 systems, and we have 3 monitors. Like here in this diagram, if you observe that three monitors are there, and they are actually connected to this physical server here, and 3 people, for example, we 3 people are sitting here. So our illusion, our thinking may be that we are having this physical server, we are actually owning this machine. I have one dedicated system for me which is actually working. Likewise, I may be thinking like that, you may also be thinking like that, but actually there is an only one machine which is actually running. So the cost, how the cost is decreased? Why? Because if suppose 3 different systems are there, in that case 3 different CPUs, 3 different other hardware peripherals which are required, everything has been actually bought, and money is 3 times increased. Whereas in case of this particular cost, talking about the cost is will be decreased. No need of having 3 physical different CPUs, or the machines are there. So we can have one virtual machine which is going to run it. And also we are going to have the some free softwares also. You need not buy the softwares also. They have been actually available. The open source softwares are actually available for us. We have a free download which you can use. You can download them and you can install them on our machines. And if you are using the licensed operating system, that will cost the money. Means if you are using any licensed operating system, it may cost for means if you don't want, if you are not using free version of Linux, if you are using the hosting of, then you'll have to pay for only one physical server. You need not pay for the number of physical servers there. Okay, got it. Next, you can see the example here. The server running VMware only $0, and Linux $0, because Linux is a free open source operating system. VMware is also a virtual machine, means the software which is going to means where we can install virtual servers using VMware. We are going to learn it very soon in the next class. So in that case, you are just having $0, no need of money here. It is for free now, so it can be a cost effective. Likewise, as I told you that when you are having when you are decreasing the number of servers here, the administrative burden is also decreased there. So if you're using VMware, you can reduce the administrative burden from 1:10 to 1:30. Means in one case, for 10 number for a cost of which is incurred for 10 people, now you can just incur for one people. Likewise, to 30 people's cost, now it is decreased to only 1 people. Means you can save the time in your daily server administration and add more number of servers having virtualized environment. Means more number of servers you can install and you can use them. So because you are having a centralized console, allows quicker access to the servers. You are having one centralized server. So CDs and DVDs are quickly mounted using ISO files. Okay, new servers can be quickly deployed. What you can do here, you can because you are just having only one system, you can just evenly create a new server very quickly, and it can be deployed. New virtual servers can be deployed more inexpensively than physical servers. RAM can quickly be allocated to the disk drives, and virtual servers can be moved from one server to another server. Also, moving of virtual servers means RAM can be allocated. Moving of one virtual server to another server is also very easy, because every virtual guest is just like a file. Means no, the virtual guest is just like a file, so it can be easy to copy or clone a system to create new one. To copy an existing server, just copy the entire directory of the current virtual server. So what you can do here, it is just like a directory. What you can do, you can copy that directory, you can go onto another system, and then you can start working on that particular machine here. So that is the advantage of this. Faster deployment is also possible. Okay. This can be used in the event of physical server files, or if you want to test out a new application to ensure that it will work and play well with the other tools. So where it is actually useful, if one physical server fails, simply you copy that file, you can move on to another system, and then you can start working on that particular machine. And also, if you want to test the new applications, also it will be a major tool here. Virtualization softwares allow you to make clones of your work environment for these end users. That means easily can clone, and means you can make another similar machine, and you can move it onto another desk, and then you can start using it. Okay, got it. Next, reduce the infrastructure. Obviously, the infrastructure cost when you are virtualizing will be decreased. So, like Linux, which are using, which is free of cost, then we are having this VMware and Hyper-V. These are actually the cost will be reduced. And if you are reducing the number of physical servers also, then you can save the money on hardware. Cooling means lesser power consumption is there, for lesser consumption of electricity, lesser consumption of cooling mean purpose. All this actually will be reduced. So if you realize that you can have the increase the hardware utilization by 70%, you can increase the hardware utilization by 70%, you can decrease the hardware and software capital cost by 40%, and you can decrease the operating cost by also 70%. Okay, got it. Now the next point here is how to virtualize. So when you think about virtualization, how to virtualize, it is not just the thing that right now from the beginning we are talking about the virtualization. It is beneficial. Then easily you can start thinking of virtualizing, bring something and then bring a machine and virtualize it. It's not like that. You need to figure out certain things. Then you need to make sure whether the virtualization suits your organization or not. For this, what you are going to do, you need to assess the current environment. So you need to conduct the environmental assessment of your organization to determine each department's server processing needs. Means what is the necessity? What is the necessity of server processing? Means how much server speed is required, how much is required. Okay, how much is required, everything you need to actually think about here. Means you should poll out for the servers to identify the current total of CPU. Means how much CPU cycles are required, how much CPU power is required, how much memory is required, what adapters are required, what is the file and system capacity, total used and unallocated disk space. Everything you need to assess and calculate. Along with this assignment, you should identify the peaks in CPU, memory, adapter usage, read, write, and wait cycles. Means at the peak hours, how much CPU you are going to use. Okay, what is the memory you are going to, how much memory is utilized. So, what is the read-write operations which are performed, what are the wait cycles, everything. Discover also the data that have not been accessed over extended period of time. So there is some data we may not be accessing it for over a period of time. You need to identify everything. After assessing, you need to analyze it. So you need to take a good look at your current server environment, identify and consolidate the processing capabilities of application to a single server. Means you need to identify the processing capabilities of applications, then you consolidate them onto a single server, and you can virtualize your existing multi-server data center to share processing capabilities for the common builds. So what you can do here, you can virtualize your existing multi-server data center. Now, while doing analyzing this, another point you need to identify and keep in mind that there will be some mission critical servers. Okay, mission critical servers means every time the machine, the total speed must be given to that particular application. So in such mission critical servers, you just don't think of virtualizing it. Okay, don't think of virtualizing it. Just you keep them as it is, and only the non-heavy hitting applications like file, print, exchange, and so on, and virtualize the remaining servers to construct the common pool of hardware resources. So if it is printing, file accessing, exchanging, such things, you bring them all into one machine and then thought of virtualization. But there are some applications which are mission critical servers like SAP, the PeopleSoft, and Siebel. In such cases, you don't actually virtualize them. Okay, uh, only virtualize which are actually which can be consolidated into one machine and which can be run. So then you consolidate the servers to their CPU, memory adapters can be shared, heavy hitting servers when needed. Most servers today hover around 10 to 15% of utilization. When you are done with the utilization, average CPU utilization is about 80%. Means most of the times the server utilization will be around 10 to 15%. Okay, but if you virtualize several machines, the utilization of CPU can be increased up to 80%. So then, when you are virtualizing, when you are thinking like this, now you need to think about how much money also you are going to save. So here, if you observe this figure, no old server, okay, now houses four virtual server means an old server. What means another very interesting point here to understand. So for this virtualization, do we need to buy new hardware? Is it required for us to actually buy a new hardware, then virtualize it? No, no need of such thing here. No need of such thing. So already existing machines can be used to virtualize them for virtualization. Okay, which no, existing machine. So just you check out your hardware pool and reduce the number of means. What is its processing speed and how much processing speed it has. Then if you think that it is going to meet up your combined usage, combined different virtual servers usage, then you can use the existing software. In such case, you can save the money without buying the new servers, new machines for virtualization. So that is the another very advantage here. Okay. Now, virtualizing your servers enable them to identify their own CPU, memory, and adapter requirements. They will be seek out the resources on neighboring servers when more capacity is needed, and then surrender the resources when demand is has less. Now, this is another very interesting thing here. What you can do here, you can actually in virtualization, when more CPU is required. So, say example, if three virtual systems are working on one machine, and one machine is actually on heavy load, and the other two are having less load. What this heavy machine can do here is it can buy or it can take the CPU, memory, and adapter requirement from those servers. It can, I mean, it is taking those resources from the neighboring servers. It can utilize them, it can work with them, and once it is done, it can surrender back to them. So that is another advantage of this. So therefore, you can go for this virtualization. Now, another point here is until now we are talking about the most of the benefits of this virtualization, but there are some concerns which you need to identify and take care and think about the virtualization, whether to go for the virtualization or not. Okay. Now here, the point here is there are some graphic intensive applications out there. So in such cases, such graphic intensive applications are not better suited for virtualization. So this graphic intensive applications are not well suited for today's virtual environment. Video cards cannot handle the requirements of high performance graphics adapter. So in such cases, means where the systems are actually require high utilization, high CPU utilization. In such case, you need not virtualize such systems because they actually require more power. And also databases and business intelligence softwares are also poor matches for virtualization simply because they require a lot of memory and processing power. So some business intelligence software systems are also require a lot of more memory and processing power than the currently virtualized servers. So databases can be successful if small enough but will scale poorly. Means databases can also be done, but when high requirement is increased, then also we cannot go for the virtualization. Also, server applications that require to access hardwares like PCI cards, the peripheral component interconnected cards, and USB devices are also difficult to virtualize. So where the servers which are actually accessing the hardwares, the PCI cards as well as the USB, okay, in such cases also those systems, those type of systems can also or also not can be virtualized. Okay, next, what is the conclusion here? The point here is you need to think about which applications require more CPU capacity, more resources, and which requires less resources. You need to identify. Then you need to go about whether to utilize them or not. And finally, another very important concern regarding this virtualization here is what type of security concerns we need to deal. So there is nothing difference between a physical server and this uh, uh, there is nothing any difference between the physical server that exists for virtualization server means there is no different risk factor for physical server as well as the virtual server is same. There is no difference in that, means whatever the risks actually uh, a physical server face, like facing the viruses, about the spywares and malwares which attacks generally physical servers. Likewise, same type, same way, these malwares, the virus, and the spywares can actually attack your virtual servers also. So therefore, you need to take all the security measures which are in general taken for the case of physical servers. The same thing also can be has to be taken for the case of virtual servers also. Okay, you need not. I mean, the security is an extra important on virtual server because virtual as a host can potentially lead to failure of other virtual machines on the same physical. Means no, you need to be extra careful here. Why you need to be extra careful? Because more number of systems are actually been running on the same system. More number of machines are actually handling the content on the same system. In such cases, what happens here is uh, that if one system is damaged, there is a very fair chances that the other systems can also may be damaged. So therefore, what we need to do here, you need to take more care here in case of security also. So the next is about the server solution. So what type of server components means there are two major components of virtual environments, clients and servers. So and those means if you go for the server solutions, this virtual server solutions who are there. So we need to actually talk about the Hyper-V as well as VMware and VMware ESX. So in our discussion, but here also when you're going for the environment, virtualized environment, here also we will talk about the client server paradigm model only. But there is a lot of difference between the client and server paradigm in the normal way in this virtual way. What is this difference? The difference here is in server. in this general client server paradigm, the server may be hosting some files, as well as the client may also be hosting some files, and those applications or the files can be shared and they can be used. But in case of virtualized server, everything is done by the server, whether storing of the files, running of an application. Okay, everything is done by the server. Only what is done here is the client simply used to display the same figure. Just you bring back the figure here in your mind, which we have seen in the beginning, that only for it is used for an which display purpose. The thin clients are going to just use to display the content which is actually cooked up or made available on this server, the virtual server, and it is displayed on the screen there. So you need to develop such solutions. So now we need to look about what are the virtualization products we have. We have this Microsoft Hyper-V 2008. Then we have the VMware and VMware ESX. So about these three things I will be talking about in the next class. Okay. So thank you. So any doubts?
No, sir.
Fine. Then okay. Uh, we'll meet tomorrow. Okay.